Hello and welcome to Today in Film episode 32. I'm your host Dominic Parry, and with today is...
James McQueen.
Now, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 2008 film Iron Man, the first of 23 films now, I think it is, in the MCU.
Yeah, something like that.
It's 20. I think it's 23. And what do you think of it, James?
I haven't seen this film in a while, like properly watch it, because obviously when I was younger, this was like one of the ones that he had on repeat. Do you know what I mean? But I haven't watched this in a long time, and honestly, it's sort of weird, like how actually genuinely good this film is. Like really good. And this is the same year that The Dark Knight comes out and Incredible Hulk comes out, and it's just like everybody talks about The Dark Knight, and rightfully so. But like, this film's really good, and honestly, people say like MCU films, they don't really deal with theme order. This one really does.
It's
And yeah, it's and it's if you know anything about the production, it's a miracle that this film came together as well.
Well,
Like they didn't even have a script when they started filming this. It's a good origin story because the big comparison is like, oh, Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne are very comparable. They are. But the difference is with Bruce Wayne, when he goes off, he's in search of being changed.
Yeah. So
do you know what I mean? He's in search of that sort of internal redemption. Tony Stark doesn't. Tony Stark's thrown in to what he essentially creates, unwillingly.
It's a great film for non-comic readers and stuff, and because it's it's a good film itself. Like, it's not a kid-orientated kind of superhero movie. It's a kind of
and it is brutal as well.
It's not hard-hitting as such, but it is heavy.
No, but just
like there are some bits,
like just that grit, the grit of the cave, I think is a good example of it. It's like,
oh yeah,
it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Yinsen.
But I like how this film's like.
Yinsen is a
like, oh my god, he's probably like the best supporting character in the MCU. He has to be up there, like one-time characters. He's probably the best. I mean, but then again, I mean, like it's Yinsen and the character Stanley Tucci plays. They're the same character essentially. In First Avenger, they're essentially the same character.
They're the wise guy who kind of helps
They're the wise bold guy.
Helps the main character and then dies.
Dies in a spur of events as soon as that character becomes the character, their titular status.
It's a bit strange how they do have kind of this same role, and it's like
it's the standard hero's journey, isn't it?
It is. I mean, Thor doesn't have it, but you know, he's Thor.
But then look at Thor. Yeah, but then look, Thor wasn't interesting till Ragnarok.
Thor was so. Why did they do that?
Anybody who convinces us anybody who says I liked Thor before Ragnarok is kidding themselves. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah,
You only liked Thor because of Loki.
Yeah, basically, actually, that's true. Thor is, up until Ragnarok, he's a nobody, and relating to Thor, the one character who is in just, everything, and he appears firstly in this, Agent Coulson.
Yeah.
Not any arse, not Paul Bettany or.
Don't Paul Bettany's. It's weird hearing Paul Bettany in this film.
It is compared to WandaVision and stuff, because he doesn't.
Because remember, the voice of this character becomes this really camp person in WandaVision,
and it's years ago that he, it's just.
But do you notice a little bit of a plot hole with the whole Shield thing? I know we should be talking about more of as a film more than what happens, but like, do they sort of retcon the whole? They're working on the name for Shield, like the whole strategic homeland interventional. I'm like, but wasn't
Oh,
this already established in like First Avenger and
um,
Captain Marvel that it's already called Shield?
oh, that's not good, is it? Someone did do their homework on that. So that's a weird one because in Agents of Shield,
The Tesseract makes sense in Captain
yeah,
Marvel. The Tesseract makes sense in Captain
but in
Marvel, but like the
Agents,
sheet,
you
like
haven't watched
calling it
Agents of Shield,
Shield.
have you?
No.
Right. Well, in Agents of Shield, you had Quake, Daisy Johnson, Sky, the kind of basically main character, Chloe Bennett, I think the actress is, and she makes a quip. I think it's in the very first episode about someone wanting it to like sound like Shield or something. Like they wanted it to make the word
Mm.
Shield, and it's like, well, not really. If in Iron Man they didn't have any bloody plan, like it's a bit lucky, isn't it, that the word just happens to spell out perfectly.
Yeah. And and Sword.
Oh, sword.
The same thing, isn't it?
Sword is a kind
What
of
we'll talk about in one division.
sword's a better one, but shield. At least they didn't just come in saying shield. I mean, sorry, no. I
Yeah.
mean, right, sword. It's good they didn't just come in saying sentient world observation, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
this whole sword thing. They have the original sword logo in some of the scenes. Sorry, shield. God damn it! It was why did it
Yeah.
have to have
Yeah,
these?
it's the more bird-like one where before it became
Yeah,
a like
kind of
static sort of
classic Nick
like
Fury shield.
like fighter jet sort of thing.
But
But even then, like with look back down to Iron Man, like I think talking about like the world, like there's a good little bit of world building. I think this is where the MCU sort of strived. Is that, and this is why the MCU works, and other franchises who try to capitalize on the MCU that MCU don't. This one cared about just making a good film to start off
well,
with.
there are no real references to other characters.
Shield.
Shield is the only one, and then of course,
It's only Iron Man 2 when he started upping the
yeah, like Captain
references.
America's shield in the one bit and stuff. But
I mean, we could say the Incredible Hulk, but for all intents and purposes, what happens at the end of Incredible Hulk is sort of
yeah, we don't
retconned.
count that film anymore.
Actually, no, we get Roxxon. We get Roxxon in this.
We've had Roxxon's been in so many different films as like a background.
Yeah, they've been in the Netflix
Yeah,
series.
Roxxon
I
is
mean,
just it's just
it's
a
like it's
thing,
Rock
you know.
background thing. Yeah,
It's,
it's just a generic other company sort of in the MCU.
they're an evil company. That's basically it. They have absolutely no. They've not even done anything in the MCU, so it's a
No,
pointless reference at this point.
but what I'm saying is it introduces you to a world of like the only really intent like it sort of like it references any characters is literally Nick Fury at the end.
And
But
yeah,
even there might be one or two more. Ten Rings. I
no,
mean,
but even then they don't like reference. Oh, it's the Mandarin's 10 rings.
no, it's really Iron Man 2 when they start upping like literally every
But
reference.
in so
Um,
basically, so comparing this to other movie franchises where they've tried to do the franchise approach, this film has barely any references. It has characters who can appear later in the same role.
yeah,
So Phil Coulson and Nick Fury and blah blah blah.
like yeah, because Phil Coulson's a very easy role. He's just an agent. Do you know what I mean?
But yeah, that's the great thing.
He's a pliable. He's a very pliable. Yeah.
But in a lot of the other kind of films that want to start up a universe, they have to like the Mummy. That I haven't seen that, but I know
Yeah.
that spoiler alert, Russell Crowe is playing Jekyll and Hyde, if I remember rightly.
He's playing
And
Doctor.
then
Yeah.
there's some other characters.
But here's the thing, and guess what? He's running a company or like a elite group called Prodigium, which is
I don't.
essentially Shield.
Yeah, I don't understand why they have to just reference all the time. If you want to set up something
Well, I
good,
think Shield are in
don't do
every MCU film in Phase One, aren't they? Shield are
that.
in
Yeah,
every
in some
MCU
way,
film in Phase One, aren't they?
in
Except
some
for
way.
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, because that's
No, I think in
Incredible Hulk.
Incredible Hulk, I think.
They might be referenced maybe, but I can't remember that well enough really. I mean, it has Tim Roth. That's literally
what the best, the best thing about that film.
Yeah,
Um,
they shouldn't have had him in that film. They
but
should
no,
have had him in somewhere else. But oh, the one thing. All right,
but yeah.
I've got a thing, right. So watching this, so we're getting some actors coming back from previous MCU films now. I really, now that we're opening up the multiverse and stuff in movies, I think we need to get Jeff Bridges back as Obadiah Stane.
Ooh, I don't know about his health.
Yeah, I know, but like, even if it's a voice role, just something, because he is great
Yeah,
as that
I
role.
could see like here's the thing. Sometimes people say like bad villains and everything, like underdeveloped. But they say the biggest criticism for a while, which I don't think is used against the MCU anymore, is the villain. Was the hot for a long while the villains were a problem in the MCU, weren't they?
But it was one and
And
done.
sometimes villains don't. Yeah, I understand the whole one and done thing. I completely agree with that because it doesn't treat them as characters more than just something for the villain, the hero
To bounce off of and to beat.
you know
And
you bounce off.
yeah,
I get that, but sometimes the villain doesn't need a whole backstory. Do you know what I mean?
well, the funny thing
I
is,
think that's where Jeff Bridges works. He's a
yeah,
powerhouse in this. Do you know what I mean?
he is a
He works. He's enough.
in right. So he's only in. He's not in a huge amount of the film, to be honest. And
No, no, he's actually.
I don't know how many scenes. He's probably in it for like 10 minutes overall. Well, not in
Yeah, he's not in it
the
for very
fight
long.
scene. That's the longest part he's in it, But
Yeah, and even then, that's probably one of the shortest. That's actually the final act is very short.
yeah, the
Like I
last
was,
fight.
I, I was pausing and playing. I was pausing and playing. The last fight's like 4 minutes.
Well,
It's
it's
not
not much of a fight either. It's just Iron Man getting knocked about,
long.
and that's literally
Okay,
it.
I can see that being a problem though. Like I don't like sometimes when, and I think it's a big thing when villains and if it's superheroes are like really exemplify this,
Yeah.
but the villain is just an evil version of the hero.
Oh, but see, right, that can hurt the film sometimes, but this doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt
Yeah,
this one, but it is just a problem that
the
can prevail
characters
sometimes.
themselves are actually kind of like they're the same character but different paths.
Mm.
So like Obadiah Stane is just like Tony Stark if he went really into it, because obviously he's giving weapons
Yeah,
to terrorists essentially, which
yeah, no, he knows he's doing that. Like, and that's how he's made. That's what. Okay, I think that's obviously we see everything in the cave and how he's like coming to realize that his life is basically selling
yeah.
death, and like he's always been told, and that's like you can always be told something that you're doing this. You're because it happens in the film
See,
at the beginning.
yeah,
You're doing this. The reporter says you're being called this, the Merchant of Death, and he's like, whatever, whatever. But then the moment he actually goes and actually has a taste of his own medicine, he's literally, oh my god, I'm like, I am this person. I'm selling all of this.
this film it has one of the greatest openings in for the MCU for this as the opener. It's just it gets you
Yeah,
in the mood straight away with ACDC, but then and it's
yeah,
jokey, and then suddenly it just flips, and it's great.
yeah. And it flips well. It's not like a tonal shift that feels out of place either.
No,
Well, they're in Afghanistan.
well,
But that's also what I think this film's really good at doing. People that say MCU's, it's very pro-military. It's very
this is not pro
um,
military really.
propagandist. It's like it's really not. And his thing, the themes of this film, like talking about look, we're not saying we shouldn't have an army at ready, but we don't need to be like wasting our resources like this. That doesn't really get
What
us
is it?
anywhere. Do you know what I mean?
The film
Yeah,
War
honestly,
Dogs, isn't it?
does it really sort of feel like to fund the? Does it really feel like to fund like a lot of this is like in recent times like defund the police, like reform the
Well,
police
this film, right?
in
You
America?
know, I think it's War Dogs, isn't it? The Jonah Hill and Miles Teller.
The Todd
Yeah,
Phillips
the
one,
one
yeah.
that's like
I've not
it's
seen it.
it's about like the well, basically, you know, warmer, kind of Merchants of Death, as Tony Stark's called. But that's a very, having watched that, it's a very pro war film, really, weirdly. And this is the opposite of that. Like you,
What, Todd Phillips mixing up his own messages?
yeah,
We haven't seen that, have we?
yeah, we have. But this is like this is it's not that. But yeah. So essentially, he is a victim of his own kind of design. You know.
Yeah, yeah, and I like how he's like they treat but and he is a bit slimy at first, but he is just arrogant. Do you know what I mean? They don't, and when he comes back, he definitely feels like he has changed. Like
Well, that's the great thing because
yeah,
he doesn't take notice of the whole thing at the start in the like
no,
flashback. But then when he
prelude, yeah.
comes back and he's shown the picture by the reporter of like the missiles, and it's like, did you know about this?
Oh, the
And he's
sales,
just like, I didn't know about
yeah.
this. And it's obviously
It makes him look like a
it
hypocrite.
does, but then obviously we as the audience, it's the dramatic irony of kind of like in the earlier bit, he would have just said the same thing, but he wouldn't have really taken any notice. He wouldn't have cared. And it's
Oh yeah, I never thought.
yeah,
About, yeah, like I think him actually going off screen, not trying to make it up only to Obadiah. It's like he really means this.
Obadiah.
He really deep down
Right,
means this.
Obadiah. I will say one thing. One of the things that makes Jeff Bridges' character so great in this is that you don't know he's the villain until he's the villain, because they focus on
It's pretty obvious though.
it is, but if you were coming into this blind, you might just take the, I don't know what his name is, but the guy who's at the
Mm.
cave who has his face burnt. You might take him as the villain,
Yeah, he's set up as the villain.
and
Yeah,
obviously it's like, oh, he's the villain.
and they sort of deal with that in the end of the second act.
Well, yeah, but it's very obvious when he doesn't show up at all, and he's in a whole different country.
Yeah.
Also, do you like how Tony Stark manages to fly from America to the Middle East in like no time at all?
Well, if he goes from he's in California, so he has to fly over the Pacific.
Which is still quite a while, you know.
That's halfway across the
Yeah,
bloody
it's
world, isn't
still,
it? Yeah.
and he just goes, right, I'm gonna go sort this.
And he knows where to go, and he knows where to go. He doesn't like turn it. Oh shit, I'm at the wrong place. And he's
Oh, right. This is a weird one because you know when Thanos gets beheaded in Endgame, people are like, "Oh my god, he gets beheaded." This film literally has civilians being shot. Like, it has some
yeah.
dark stuff in this. So
No, even talk about the other thing we're going to talk about after, but
yeah,
like darkness and actual horror isn't usually by how much blood you show.
no, it's
Do
more.
you know what I mean?
It's like the dad.
Not saying blood cannot be a part of it and violence cannot be a part of it, but it's how you display it. It's what it means for the characters. Like,
The,
do you
yeah,
know what I mean?
the bit where it's
It's like,
the bit where it goes too far. Not in this. Like the bit that goes too far in a lot of films is when it's just like gore, 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 because they don't really know how to give the message without gore. And Iron Man doesn't have
yes.
gore; it
Like,
just has the message of this is bad. That's literally all they have to say is this is bad. Look at it, because there's not much
yeah.
for them to do, is there? They're shooting civilians,
No, and like that's horrible enough, and they're lining them up to be shot, and
and it's all off screen. It's tasteful, which is
it's tasteful, but like sometimes the horror is in what you don't
yeah,
see.
but
So your mind, it's usually that's to show that your mind's way more messed up, and your imagination is way more scary than what any filmmaker could probably put. That's obviously a case by case basis, but in that case, it
right
is. Do you know what I mean?
in this film, had they shown you the people getting shot, it would add nothing to the plot. Yinsen, you don't even get to see get shot.
No,
Like one of the
no,
big
and well,
characters, just and then Obadiah, he just kind of
yeah,
falls over. You know,
yeah, yeah.
Oh, right.
I
One thing
mean,
I have one problem with this film. Okay, how does Tony Stark survive at the end at all? There's no explanation for how he survives.
oh, but you don't really need one.
I
Well,
know, but like,
let's just do some crappy explanation that he got a. Well, here's the thing: is they play off the whole thing. Oh, is he dead at the end? Oh, his eyes are
no,
shut. But when you see his head, when you see the sky portal beam up, the sky
yeah,
beam, you actually see him like flinch away from it, showing that he's alive, and then they cut to him on the floor. They've done that before. You know when Pepper's saying, "I can't do this, see you go through this," and then he says, "I shouldn't be alive,"
yeah,
and sits down in the chair. There was clearly they've cut out a moment here because when he stand the drop, that scene of how it's all cut of him standing to him sitting does not make sense for the amount of
no.
time was. Do you know what
Do
I
you know
mean?
what, right?
So I feel like they've cut out a
Do you
lot.
know a funny thing about this film is right? So Obadiah Stane is basically committing treason. Yeah,
Oh no, he's trying to overthrow
no,
Tony,
yeah, he's doing that, but I mean, like,
and you think he was doing this before he shut the weapons down. He
he
was
is
gonna.
committing
That's why
treason though,
he's
because
one
of
of.
this selling weapons
Yeah.
to the terrorists, and there's no like the government is paying him
Oh
to
yeah.
do it. It's him doing it, so it's obviously not some kind of higher power, and that means like
No,
when
it's
Shield kind of covers it up at the end, it's like, well, he just got off scot free, didn't he? Like,
yeah, but it's because they're trying to hide. They're trying to cover up the Iron Man.
and then obviously he comes out and just goes, "I'm Iron Man" anyway. It's a bit like,
Yeah. So they probably like they covered it up because it stops Tony being. I I will talk about like I'll talk about the ending, but like this has some of my favorite film logic ever.
how so?
Right? You know when Pepper finds the terrorist video,
Yeah. Oh,
and we hear the guy, the bald guy in the glasses, so it's speaking in his native
yeah,
language, and then all she does is type translate, and the same guy is then
yeah.
speaking in
that,
English.
that I did think that, and I was just like, what?
That is my favorite bit of film logic ever.
I think right.
Had it been a different dub,
Yeah,
fair enough,
or
fair
if it
enough,
was
but because it's the
Jarvis's
same
voice or
guy,
something. But
Paul Bettany speaking on behalf of a terrorist.
I mean, yeah. But the funniest thing there is that she leaves, and Obadiah's like, "Is that today's paper?" And it's like, what does he benefit from that?
He doesn't because he knew what she was
He
doing,
knew, and the whole
but he was giving her a
she is
chance. He
so
was giving
bad
her a
the whole
chance.
scene. She has not got a poker face at all.
Mm. I do like that they don't like immediately go for Pepper and Tony relationship. I like it. That's just like it's a love hate relationship.
I mean,
Do you
they
know what I
didn't
mean?
really need to get together in this film.
It's also so weird. Like Jon Favreau barely says anything in this
He
film.
has like two lines
You don't even notice him. You don't even notice him if you actually really think about. And he's really thin.
and no
Um,
facial hair as well.
and no, that's it's just weird. But like, obviously, because his thing, he obviously became a bigger
I
presence
do, yeah.
going forward, and like,
I love the fact that
it's just like,
so Happy Hogan is his bodyguard from the comics, and Jon Favreau just like wrote in the role and just decided to play him.
and he's a great cat, and he created his own jobs for the
Yeah,
future.
because if they do an Iron Man thing, well, you've got to have Happy Hogan at some point, haven't you? Like, it's just it's good to have him around.
Even after he stopped directing, after the second one, it's so weird though how he stopped directing, but he was in Iron Man 3.
Yeah,
I just find that's a bit. It's a little bit. Even though I like Iron Man 3, and I think Shane Black did a. I actually, Iron Man 3 is probably my favorite. I think Iron Man, but it's so weird also in comparing like what John Favreau had the whole like Iron Man clunk at the beginning of the title card.
yeah. It's
Shane Black was like, no way, I'm not having that.
see,
They
it's a
feel
strange
different.
one, like Iron Man 1 compared to the kind of other I've not watched Iron Man 2 in whole. I don't think ever. I just haven't.
You're not missing
I'm not. I know
much.
that's. I just usually get bored of it.
You're missing Sam Rockwell with his Trump hands,
Yeah, but
but
I mean,
and Mickey Rourke's not all that good.
and it's yeah. I like how the MCU had a bit of a
I mean,
dip,
it's
didn't it? Like Thor and
yeah, it
Iron
did.
Man 2 and Thor: The Dark World. Just
And everybody like to think like Captain America: The First Avenger was bad, but actually,
I love that film. It's great. I love that film,
but
unironically
no,
as
I mean,
well.
I think I like it how it's about reform, and it's actually this film is a lot better paced. This is quite a fast paced film, but you don't feel like you're missing anything.
It's fast paced in a slow way. Like it kind of goes
Mm.
nice and naturally through the scenes.
He breaks out of the cave at 45 minutes.
Oh, he's in. Yeah, he's in there for a good.
The film's less than 2 hours.
It's just about. It's just under a 2 hour mark, so it is like
Yeah,
it's a decent length,
yeah, yeah. So
but 45 minutes in is
yeah,
quite.
and yeah, I mean it's
I
I think it's really good, and
I don't know. It's
I just
I don't really know what to say about this film
I think I mean,
because
well, we can say
it
about the
looks
ending
good.
though, like how he reveals himself.
The
We say about that.
supposedly
Like
the
I like how
supposedly
at that
ad lib.
time when like that's
Yeah,
ad lib.
somewhere I
It
read
doesn't
it
matter.
is supposed to be supposedly like oh it was ad lib. I don't see it because it's just like
I like how
yeah.
it sets up Terrence Howard as a War Machine.
Oh, next time it's like oh
Poorly aged things.
that's a long time.
Twitter, do your thing.
I mean he's not
Um, but no.
right.
Yeah,
First, all right. Before we end this,
I prefer Don
before we
Cheadle
end
anyway.
this, so Don Cheadle or Terrence Howard as War Machine, James Rhodes.
Me. Um, obviously because we got him longer. They even do a reference to that in Iron Man 2,
Yeah,
that at the beginning. And it's like, oh, I'm here now, you just gotta deal with it. Like something like that. Like I do think like
I think they're better off for recasting
uh,
him. You know,
yeah.
thing is,
Because I feel like
his attitude.
but it's weird though. Yeah, yeah. But here's the thing, Don Cheadle doesn't act the same way Terrence Howard
Oh,
did.
not at all. Not at all. No, no. It's a
Like
whole different thing.
Terrence Howard's probably like shit. I should have organised my contract better.
I shouldn't have asked for more money than Star.
No, but wasn't it something ridiculous? Like Terrence Howard was more higher
He
paid
was
than
higher
Robert Downey
paid in
Jr.
the
at that time.
first one. Then they wanted to change it, I think, and it was like he was like, "No, I deserve more than him." It's like, no, you don't. You're not even. You're barely in the film. Like, I don't know how he got paid more than Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr.
Are you well again? Like there's a
I
reason
know
why
there
they
is.
didn't want to cast him
He got
first.
paid like what was it, five
He
hundred
was
grand, I think.
that's nothing. It's like 300.
Still, it's
Uh,
that's not a bad payday, is it?
no, I mean I'd love that.
You know,
But no, like I'll get the Sharpie on my face. Will make me look like Tony Stark. Um, but no, that's also another thing. Like we'll talk about the ending. Like I love how the ending is like it was like I like actually the MCU did away with secret identity because actually in the real world
it would be so much hassle.
you're gonna get caught.
Steve Rogers is Captain America.
You're gonna get
You know, Thor is
yeah.
Thor.
The only identity we've managed to conceal is Banksy in this
I
world.
mean, is
No,
he?
well, is he Neil Buchanan? Is he Neil Buchanan? I choose to believe this and nothing else.
All right, but yeah, secret identities in the
Actually, no,
real
no,
world.
Banksy can't be Neil Buchanan. Yeah, Banksy can't be Neil Buchanan because can Banksy make a puppet out of a toilet roll?
No, but all right. Spider-Man had his secret identity somehow through two films. 3 films, even 4 films.
Yeah,
It's
but even
ridiculous.
in the Spider-Man films, they're a bit tongue-in-cheek with it, and even if you watch like the Spider-Man films, there are so many opportunities for his group of friends, his classmates are not this dumb.
They must be the
How the
stupidest people in
hell?
the world. Seriously, come on.
Like Zendaya managed to work it out, but she was being
Yeah,
apprehensive about it. But it's like you're telling me, Betty Brant, is it Betty Brant?
yeah.
Yeah, she. Are you
It's
that
so
thick?
bad. Um,
I don't get me wrong. I like the whole. Oh, we don't know. You come on now.
all right.
Spider-Man
One
is
of
everywhere you go on a
one
trip.
of the things, right? So you probably don't know, but the CW and HBO Max and all that, so DC, they're doing a thing called Lois and Clark, Superman and Lois, and the
I
first
saw a
trailer,
trailer. It looks like
yeah,
that Snyder film.
it looks okay, but there was a line in there about the two kids, Superman's kids, and he's revealing to them that he's Superman and they're teenagers. And they're like, but we've seen Superman. It's like, how? Just, you've seen Superman, you've seen your dad, but you
Okay,
just can't connect the dots there.
in the case of Superman, I will take that like sort of like leap in logic, but with
But
how the MCU
this is the
is
man's
and
kids.
in its regard to Spider-Man, yeah, how the MCU is and in regards to Spider-Man, like come on, that group of friends is not that like Aunt May didn't know until the end of Homecoming.
I mean, to be fair,
He conveniently goes on a trip with Tony Stark to Germany where the Avengers end up
and Spider
fighting,
Man's there.
and Spider-Man, that hero from the neighborhood is there too.
Yeah, just coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a coincidence.
That I would have loved it had they tried to give Thor
But
a secret identity. Just like, but it's literally
yeah,
just
it's
Chris
too
Hemsworth
hard.
dressing in like normal clothes, because
Yeah,
just to
but
see how dumb it'd look.
yeah. But here's the thing, though. Robert Downey Jr. I think in this film is instantly iconic.
Oh yeah, he is
Do you know
he's
what I mean?
very good at acting in this film, and he nails the character.
Yeah, and people say like, "Oh, he's just playing himself."
Not really. It's
Yeah, yeah, I can see elements of it,
there's elements of it,
but
but
it's just like,
he's playing a character
but I
still.
honestly think it's still the quick talking, it's still the whole arrogance and the reactions to people. This when people say only Robert Downey Jr. can play Iron Man, people mean it for a reason, don't they?
Yeah, I
Like
think
it's
he.
can you imagine anybody else playing Iron Man the same way and it being a success? Maybe, yeah. I mean, actors are replaceable first, but like he couldn't be recast.
I can't see the the Iron Man, mainline Iron Man, being played by no one else. So I don't see Iron Man being
This is the
rebooted.
thing. No, I know because how the MCU is, it won't be because MCU is more
Yeah,
about mantles than recasting.
I think
Um,
Marvel. I think Marvel is going for a. This is it. This is the film universe we're gonna
yes,
make, and we're never gonna make another one. Like, if it happens,
yes. So
it's
it's
gonna be
not
in
going
the
to be a case
MCU.
of like,
It's not.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's all going to be canonical. So
it's not going to be like the Fantastic
but
Four or the X-Men movies or Blade,
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man. It's not going to be like that.
well,
It's going to
Spider-Man. Yeah.
be continuous.
What is what is has always happened and always will be.
Yeah, not this.
Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. He is this Tony Stark. We might go into the multiverse and get a Tom Cruise as Tony Stark for an
I don't know
appearance.
about
We
Tom
might get
Cruise.
John Krasinski as Captain America. No, but you know what I'm trying to say. They will do these things, but our Captain America is our Steve
Yeah,
Rogers is 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 Chris Evans.
it's yeah. It
We're
is.
going to see more films. We're going to see more things with Captain America in it, but it doesn't mean it's Steve Rogers. It's going to be Sam Wilson.
That's what I mean. So the characters are going to. They might have a new Spider-Man or whatever, but it's not going to be
Oh,
reboot Peter
no doubt
Parker.
Miles Morales is going to be. Yeah, it'll just be Miles Morales.
Yeah. Uh,
Or I think the MCU could do the dual Spider-Man thing.
What, like
Like,
clones or?
no. I mean the dual like Miles
Oh yeah,
Miles
yeah,
Morales
yeah,
and Peter Parker.
yeah. But that's a whole nother.
Like
That's a whole
100%
nother thing to get into. I think that'll
conversation.
do it for this episode. Yeah, we're running. I think it's a good enough time to finish. Do you?
Yeah, that's a good time. Yeah, I think that was a good conversation.
All right. If you liked it, subscribe. I should probably say it at the start, shouldn't I? Just to make it easier. See you next week.
Watch WandaVision.